Hello, you wonderful people. Sorry if my voice sounds different. The problem is I'm still sick, but I still wanted to edit this video for you and present you something that I received per mail. And it's this wonderful painting of a kangaroo made by Jen's Wild About Art. She recently changed her channel's name from Jen's Wild About Watercolor and wants to include other mediums. Well, she sent this to me. This painting is just adorable and I love it so much. Later you can watch me frame it. And she also sent me this lovely palette, which was packaged really nicely with lots of wrap and tape, so nothing could get lost. And she sent me some Art Spectrum watercolors from Australia. I will talk about the Art Spectrum watercolors later, but first I want to thank Jen. Thank you for the paints and for this wonderful painting. As you can see, it was packaged really nicely. I just cut around the other wrap and tape and left this inner piece. The paints crumbled a little bit, but I could place it on the right place and paint with it. So Jen is an artist with a relatively small channel. She just started out, but she's posting a lot. She's posting almost daily, and it's all videos of her painting different animals and species, often from Australia or around Australia, and they're really lovely. Sometimes it's a speed paint with music, and sometimes it's a tutorial where she is explaining every step that she makes, and I really enjoy watching her and listening to her, and also communicating with her through other channels. She's a really lovely lady, so take a look at her channel, which is linked down below in the description box. Here you can see me framing this wonderful painting that she sent to me. I didn't expect that at all. And now it's found its place in my office/living room amongst the other paintings that I have. First I wanted to swatch the Art Spectrum watercolors, and the first color is lemon yellow. It's the pigment PY3. Then there's the Aurelium with the pigment PY40. The colors are very, very bright and lovely to look on. Then there's the cadmium orange and the pigment PO37. Coral is probably one of my favorite reds ever, and it's a mix of the pigments PR192 and PY83. Then there's the Pilbara Red, which is a mix of PR101, PV19 and PBR7. It's a really lovely color. The Cobalt Violet was a little bit difficult to re-wet. I really like the reddish hue that it has, and I will show you some other Cobalt Violets that I own on the screen. Then there's the Tasmanian Blue, which is gorgeous, just gorgeous, and it's a mix of PW4, PG7, PB and PB29. Then there's the Cobalt Blue, which is the PB28. The ultramarine was also a little bit difficult to re-wet, but to be honest, I expected a little bit from other ultramarines that I own. The same goes for cobalt violet. In the DS line, the cobalt violet is also difficult to re-wet, so it's not unusual for those pigments. Although there's a gorgeous... Okay, the Australian turquoise, the PG50, is probably my favorite turquoise color right now. It's so beautiful and not as neon as it looks in the video. The Australian green gold is a rich and sappy green color, and the Indian red is one of my favorite pigments. I have it in my big palette as a permanent. It has a permanent place there, and I use it pretty often, and it was very nice in this range. Raw Sienna Natural Deep is a pigment of PBR 7. Then there is the Burnt Sienna Natural, probably with the same pigment. It wasn't on the sheet that she showed me, but I will look that up. The Art Spectrum site offers plenty of information on their paints. Then there's the Raw Umber, which is a mix of PBR 7 and PY 42. And the last color that is left there is the Burnt Umber, which is a mix of PBR 7 and PY 42 as well. The colors are lovely. I really love the neutrals, and I started painting with them. So I'm not 100% happy with the painting in the end, which is a lack of my skills, as I feel, and not a lack of the performance of the pigments or the paints that I'm showing off here. And this is something that I want to mention before. As you can see, it's possible to mix a very nice neutral gray using the ultramarine and the burnt umber, which is my personal favorite mix for grays anyway. I know many prefer the ultramarine mixed in with the burnt sienna, but well, you can mix whatever you want as long as you like the outcome, right? When I started the painting, I thought about, how can I use all or most of these wonderful paintings, and I thought about something maybe a little bit whimsical, but I didn't achieve that. And probably it's my fault and the fault of my color choices. But I wanted to have some rainbowy and colorful effects, so I painted some soap bubbles with a little frog inside of them. Well, not in them, but in one of them. And it's the space in the middle that is right now left out and white. As you can see, the paints layer wonderful. The ones that should granulate. The pigments are really nice. I missed a little bit a pinkish red in the collection and used the cobalt violet, which was a little bit too weak for what I wanted to achieve with that. And used a little bit of the cobalt violet for that, but it was a little bit too weak to achieve what I wanted to achieve using that. By going too dark in the beginning in the center of the biggest bubble, I forced myself to have to go darker with the background as well. And in the end, the whole painting turned out, as I feel, quite nice. I like it, but I wish I would have gone lighter in the color scheme and leave only the frog as a darker focal point in the middle, and I may repaint that. I still like this frog in the bubble a lot. You have seen the finished painting in the beginning for a few seconds, but I thought you might also like to watch how it's all performed, or how the painting came to life. So the Art Spectrum are an Australian company. They produce, as far as I know, in Australia itself. They have quite a big range for artist quality watercolors and use only light fast pigments, so they have no fugitive pigments in their range at all. And this reminds me a lot of the Blocks colors, which I have swatched a few months ago, I think. Blocks is a Belgium brand, I think, and they also use only light fast watercolors or only light fast pigments for their paints. When I talk too much, it really hurts my throat, and from time to time I have to take a sip of tea to be able to talk more. I have really bad cold right now, and I'm really sorry for that. So only light fast pigments with a rating of ATSM 1 or 2. Which is pretty good. So they also have a student grade palette that they offer, which is the range there is slightly smaller, and that is called Art Prism. Art Spectrum also makes pastels, oils, and also watercolor paper, which I don't know what it's made of, whether it's cotton or cellulose. They don't give that information on their site. The paints crumbled in the palette, which is okay. The dots must have been pretty decent, as far as I can see from most of them, and some colors dried up pretty small, others stayed bigger. The Pilbara red, the Indian red, the raw sienna and the earth tones crumbled up a little bit more than the others. Cobalt violet and the ultramarine blue stayed in this tubular shape, as they were probably pressed out from the tube, so I assume they weren't very wet in the beginning. Those were the two colors that didn't re-wet well too, so it might be just an issue of these two colors. The others re-wetted pretty nicely, even when they were dried up pretty bad and were crumbly. The colors are bright, they're very pigmented. Turquoise is gorgeous, just simply gorgeous. As you can see in the painting, I have added some indigo from another set to the background only to deepen this blue, because the ultramarine wasn't deep enough for the painting, and I'm really sorry for that. So this is not an expression of what the palette can do, not an exact expression of what the palette can do, and all the other colors were used from this palette alone. I have to tell you, Jan, that this palette is lovely, and I don't know where you have it from, but I love how tight it closes with the clip, that it's nice and portable, and I really like this palette. which I have in front of me right now. Just for a comparison, I painted this on the Hanemühle Lanaquarelle watercolor paper, which is 100% cotton, and I also used the Centenaire 100% cotton watercolor paper for the swatching, as I did with all the other swatching videos that I have on my channel. So you can compare it on the same paper if you want to. In the future, these swatches will go up and will be uploaded to the sunandcolors.com site, which I launched with my partner, where I collect the swatches of all the paints that I have available. There's almost a full range of the Schminke, some of the Sennelier, and etc. And if you're curious, go there, take a look. It's free. You can look up pigments, whatever you want, just to compare how the colors look in different brands. In the end, I'm adding a little bit of Schminke white gouache to bring back the highlights that I've had lost in the process. And I have to admit that I really have enjoyed painting with them. They mix beautifully, and I really enjoyed painting with them, so much so that I already plan to paint the next painting using the exact same palette, just because I had so much fun using them. Dear Jen, thank you so much for sending these to me. You're a wonderful person. I can't thank you enough. I appreciate this generous gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And everyone else, go and visit Jen and take a look at her wonderful, beautiful animals. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm sorry for having such a bad time talking. I'm coughing a lot, and I hopefully will cut it all out. Thank you for being patient with me. I hope to see you soon. Bye.